Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Real Talk podcast, where we keep it real with you on the most popular movies of our generation. My name is Nancy Lagos.
My name is Lara Matute.
And my name is Jack Case. Today we'll be talking about Loving. This is a 2016 American biographical film which tells the story of Richard Loving, a white man who falls in love with a black woman, Mildred Jeter, in Virginia, actually. After discovering that Mildred was pregnant, they decided to get married, but in 1958, interracial marriage violated Virginia's anti-miscegenation laws. So they decided to go to Washington, D.C. to get married. Anti-miscegenation laws were laws that prevented the mixture of races.
There's not too much intensity, not even in the peak parts of it. The characters are pretty quiet and reserved, yet we still get all the sense of emotions we need to fall in love with the movie.
Completely agree. Even during the peak parts of the movie, the piece that both main characters portray doesn't really make us ignore the whole situation.
Yeah, they were pretty simple people. Their piece says it all. They just wanted to be together, however it worked out, and they didn't need to give long speeches to show their love. But the whole situation they went through was enough to let us know they wanted to be together.
After the marriage, deputies raided their home and arrested them since their marriage had no validity in Virginia and took them both to jail. They broke the anti-miscegenation law and were sentenced to 1 year in prison. Luckily, the judge suspended the sentence and told them not to return to Virginia together for at least 25 years, so they moved to Washington.
The film takes inspiration from The Loving Story, a documentary from 2011 which follows the Lovings and their landmarks case. I would definitely be interested in watching how the real thing went down. In it, we can see how the case led to the 1967 U.S. Supreme Court decision, Loving versus Virginia, which invalidated state laws prohibiting interracial marriage.
After moving to DC, they returned to Virginia so their first child could have been delivered by Richard's mother, but they were arrested again. Thankfully, they were cleared by their lawyer actually, since he informed the judge he erroneously advised them to return.
I like this because there was no need for showing blatant racism in the movie. We could thankfully see some real good people with good feelings and no judgment toward their relationship, including their lawyer.
Exactly. There wasn't any typical calling of slurs or the beating up. We could finally see people with hearts.
In the movie, we see that Mildred and Richard had two children together. Mildred saw the March in Washington for Jobs and Freedom. This was a political demonstration held in Washington, D.C. in around 1963 by civil rights leaders to protest racial discrimination. She wrote to an attorney in frustration of being away of her home. The Lovings went back to Virginia and settled in a remote area while their case was in court. This all gained wide attention.
We see that Mildred was more open on speaking to the press, but Richard was more reserved. They didn't really want all the attention and they were just letting the trials take their own pace.
They just wanted to marry who they loved, but they ended up doing so much more for other Americans and allowing others to get their opportunities of marriage as well. Yet, they weren't about taking the credit for it.
They appealed to the federal Supreme Court, and before going to Washington, the lawyer asked Richard if he had a message for the justices, and he replied, "Tell the judge I love my wife." The Supreme Court held that laws prohibiting interracial marriage were unconstitutional. It is crazy to think how far civil rights have advanced in the past 60 or 70 years after centuries of outrageous discrimination and slavery, yet Black and all people of color in general are still facing discrimination and microaggressions.
But this is a very good written movie that we would definitely recommend to all of our listeners. It let us know the important history we need to know actually, while giving us that human part that we all need. Because a huge part of Black history is just inhuman.
Thank you all very much for listening. We hope you enjoyed and we want you to review this movie by yourself. See you on the next one.